Yeah, it's good to see you, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for carving out this time to come hang out and shoot the shit.
I am so
Uh,
glad we're finally able to find a time.
I know,
And I have to
man.
apologize. It's been like I've been all over the place and I'm really bad at returning emails. Like I'm one of those people that I respond in my head and I go, yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's like, yeah, you still have to physically type back.
Dude,
And
I
go,
do
so.
that all of the time. I'm the worst texter, emailer, all of it. And then you just get swept up in whatever you're doing and you forget, oh, I did it, right?
Right.
Oops. That's where we get your wife involved.
Yeah, that she's the keeper of the records now, and I have to say, she's helped me get a lot better at that. But there's still times where it's like, you still have to respond back to this. It's like I thought you did it. It's like no, like what am I not paying you for? So it's one of those things.
You pay in love.
Yeah, but yeah, and then there are times where you kind of go, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you get sort of buried under an avalanche of a bunch of asks and other things that sort of come into play. And it just slips through the cracks. And you're like, yeah. And then it's not till like weeks later or, where I'm in bed and suddenly like, did I? Oh God, I never followed up with that. I said yes. And then we never, oh no. And then it's a panic and then shame. And it's like, oh, what do I do? How do I, oh. And I just go back to sleep. In the morning you forget about it.
Don't worry about it later.
Yeah. So I apologize for that.
No,
I'm
you're
very bad at that.
I don't even remember how long ago that was at this point.
We met
it's
at
more
a
than
Galaxy
a year.
Con. It was a Galaxy Con. So that would have been like 2 years ago, my friend.
Yeah. Jeez. Right? It doesn't feel like it's been that long. It doesn't for me. I don't know if it goes the other way.
Time feels elastic sometimes, there's moments where it's like, well, that was 2 years ago. And then there's other times it's like, that was 2 years ago. Like, so sometimes it feels really short. Sometimes it feels really long. Like it's been longer than 2 years. And that's the nature of when you're doing a lot of stuff, everything just kind of blends in.
For sure, man.
To one big blob. And it's just like my short-term memory. Sometimes I'm like, I can't remember what I did 2 days ago. Right.
Right.
So it's just trying to ride on top of that avalanche of stuff you've got to do.
Speaking of, like on a lot of your shoots, just this could be just on anything really. How disorienting is it when you have to balance like night shoots and day shoots and then your concept of when and where you are sometimes?
Yeah, I will go on the record and say night shoots suck ass. They're the worst. Because it's like, we are not nocturnal creatures. Most of us aren't, right? Like we usually go out when the sun is out, and that's what it is. Or if you're out at night, if you're somebody who likes to stay up late, usually you sleep in the morning and stuff. I have a family. I have a dog who doesn't care if I'm tired or hungover or whatever. He's like, get up. I need to eat and I need to go poop. And so like that, I'm always up at 6. And so it's hard because having to force yourself to rest so that you can work overnight it's counterintuitive to your own sort of rhythms. Speak of the devil. What are you doing? Where are you? Podrick. Hey, there he is.
Aw.
This is my dog. Hey, you just gonna hang out over here? Okay. Anyways, he's got his spot. And so it's hard because like in the back of your head, you're like, okay, I need to rest. I need to rest. I need to rest. I need to rest. And then you're just wide awake. And so going into work for like, a 4 o'clock call so you can get into makeup, get your hair done, get into costume, and then work overnight is a very unnatural thing. And then you add on to that, like a lot of my work on Avatar was in the West Coast. So I live in Toronto. And so West Coast, East Coast time zones. So I'm already screwed up.
Yeah.
Because, I've lost 3 hours I gained 3 hours, which kind of messes you up, especially when you're coming back. But going there, it's like I always feel like I'm ahead of everybody because if I wake up at 6 a.m, it's actually 3 a.m. when I wake up. So it's like, oh, everyone's asleep, but I can get a lot of stuff done. But the back end of that is around 7 o'clock at night when everybody's like, hey, let's go out and have dinner. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm tired and I'm going to bed. right? So so when you mix all that stuff you can completely lose track of any sense of where you're at. Terrible sleep patterns, and yeah, there's moments of insomnia, and it's very disorienting. It's you have to sort of stay on top of all of that. And then when you mix in the fact that in Vancouver during certain parts of the year the sun never comes out because it's always raining, that messes you up as well. So
is that where you've been shooting a lot?
yeah, that's where Avatar was shooting. So we did seasons 2 and 3 back to back. So it was an extended period of time.
How long was that shooting period?
Let me think. Season 2 started in September of 2024. And then we finished around March. And then there was like a month and a bit of hiatus. And then season 3 started in May and just wrapped. So it's a really, really large undertaking. And then, just logistically speaking too, because a lot of it's location shooting and because they're shooting in BC, which is in like a rainforest sort of climate. In the winter, it rains a lot, like not much snow, but a ton of rain. So it makes it very challenging to work around the weather sometimes too.
Man, it's been a long time. I can't remember. I think it's probably been 10, 12 years since I was up in Vancouver, man.
Yeah.
But I love it though. The city's so nice. It's with all that variety of locales, because that's one of the main things I think was really attractive about shooting in BC in particular is there's so many different types of environments.
Yeah.
What was like one of your favorite places to shoot at up there? Or if you had one. The studios.
I hate the rain. I hate it. Shooting out in the elements is so BC. It's very different when the sun is out. Oh my god!
Yeah,
when the sun is out in the summertime, it's a completely different place. Everyone's smiling. There's a spring in the sky, and there's some beautiful. I mean, it is a beautiful province. You've got the mountains on one side. You've got the ocean on the other. All sorts of rainforest habitats in between. You've got wide open fields, you've got plains. It's really, really a diverse sort of ecosystem. And if you want to shoot anything out there, like it is quite beautiful. And then you've got a thriving metropolis, and you've got the infrastructure which is there and stuff. So tongue in cheek, my favorite is always a studio because it's a controlled environment, and you could just you're not wet unless you need to be wet. You can. It's just easier when you're doing a studio shoot because everything's there. Right. When you go and you're shooting on location, it's kind of like going camping. Everyone's got to bring everything just in case they need it. And, it's fun for a couple of days, but then after a while, you're like, I want a flushable toilet. I just want, the creature comforts and whatnot. I want to be in in an actual room instead of under a tent with a space heater, keeping us warm while it's pouring rain outside and stuff like that. So, but, we did shoot in Port Moody. That being said, in a beautiful location where they built an entire village, and it served as, the Earth Kingdom in season 2, and in the Fire Nation, like the Fire Nation capital in season 3. And so there's something about when you do have the practical sets and you're there and the weather's cooperating, you're fully immersed. It's beautiful. And this is also, I found out that this was the same location that they used to shoot Shogun in. And in fact, they're going to be shooting Shogun season 2 out there. And so it's kind of cool, that part of that shared history of, filming in a location where all these other great shows have been in before. So it's a lot of fun.
Did you watch Shogun while that was out?
I did.
Oh, it's so good. How do you feel about them extending it the way they're planning on?
I'm curious about that because, James Clavell wrote a series of books. So I'm wondering what that I haven't read them, but I know there's a series of books. I remember the original Shogun miniseries when it came out with Richard Chamberlain. My parents watched it, and I remember I was too young to really understand what was going on. one of the scenes I do remember is of one of the samurai pissing all over the main character to sort of like make him submit and show that who's the boss type thing, right? And so like that was my takeaway as a kid from Shogun. It's like, oh, he peed on that guy. Wow, it's pretty intense. Rewatching it, it's really fun because, you know, as an adult, you understand the politics more, you understand the culture a lot more, the dynamic between Western and Eastern philosophies and ways of thinking, the involvement of the Portuguese in terms of hiding the trade routes, all this stuff that was well above my pay grade as a kid. Now I understand and can really appreciate the nuance of it. And the added bonus is recognizing friends who are on the show.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, look, Paul, my good friend Paulino Nunez was playing one of the Portuguese clergymen. He was like, oh my God, it's Paulino. That's great. And you watch him chew up the scenery and it's great. And other, Asian Canadian actors who are playing some of the Japanese shogunate. And you're like, oh my God, this is really cool. But I'm brought up for like a split second because I'm happy to see my friends, but then I'm sucked right back in because the performances are fantastic and the storytelling is really, really next level. And the guy that played James, the actor's name is Cosmo. I can't remember his last name. I mean, he was great. They were all great, you know, because it's a tough thing it's a tough role to play. And so I'm really looking forward to the next season of Shogun when it finally airs 4 years from now, because these things take forever. It's the same thing with Avatar, right? Like we shot season 1 in 2021 and 2022. And then it aired in like 2024 because of VFX and stuff. So it takes a while to get it right and to put it out there. And so
there's a lot, especially for Avatar. And like, that's one of the things that I really appreciated about, at least with season 1 too, because there's not like, you know, they put the effort into the VFX and bringing all this stuff to life and all that, you know, and it's one of those things that just gets bigger every step of the way through the journey. I can't remember. I don't know if we talked about this or not. And you probably have said it in an interview at one point or the other. Did you watch, or how aware of you were of the show before you got onto it?
Yeah, no, I had watched the show not in 2005 when it first came out because my kids were too young. But a friend of mine in 2017 had watched it with her son, and she said, "You gotta watch this. You're a nerd. You'll love this." So I did. I was like, "No, okay." And it took me a while to get into it, to be honest. Like season 1 did pick up momentum near the end, but I found it's like, okay, it's for kids. And I'm watching it and some of the wackiness and some of the fun. It was like, and it was cool. For me, it really picked up in books 2 and 3. And then that's when it really kicked into high gear and you got a lot more development in the characters. And so I was a fan of Avatar before I got cast in it. And it was just, and then I did another rewatch after I got cast. It was like, okay, I need to see this again, right? Because it had been a year, and there's so many episodes, right, to sort of keep it in track, keep track of it, because you want to do right by the source material, because the biggest thing that a lot of fans are saying is don't mess up like M. Night Shyamalan's version, right? Like everybody was just, if I had a nickel for every time somebody said that. Yeah. It was just like, yeah, okay, I get it. You guys got burned. We all got burned by it. I get it. But it's this echo chamber after a while when people say, well, don't do that. And it's after a while, you kind of want to push back and go, really? Gosh, that's exactly what we were going to do. Thanks so much for telling us that, because we were going to do a shot-for-shot remake of what M. Night Shyamalan did. And, because, you get it. I get it. This was a fandom that they got burned. I mean, we got the short end of the stick. It was like not recognizable from the miscasting. And I don't blame the actors for it. It's just this is a direction they chose to go in, to the mispronunciation of names. And then the more you sort of peel back the onion and you find out more and more about what was going on, it's like you realize, oh, well, this was M. Night Shyamalan's first ever attempt at a intellectual property that wasn't his, right? So this was his first foray into somebody else's stuff. And I think his way of dealing with it was, well, it's going to be my interpretation of it, which is pretty ballsy. But when you're flying in the face of, millions of fans who invest in this show for a reason, and you give them something as your version of it, it's a tough pill to swallow, I think. And especially since it was so truncated, like trying to fit all of book one into a 2-hour movie is a tall task, so it's like it is one of those things where I think they underestimated the desire of fans to see something properly done for it. They couldn't just sort of skate on by and go, yeah, it'll be an adaptation and we'll make lots of money because we'll make 3 movies. It'll be our trilogy and then it'll be fine.
I think and maybe more towards the studio side of things or executive side of things, because I know like you said, like that was his. That's something honestly I feel like is like so obvious, but I'd never really thought about it in that way. Was like that was his first IP tackling. That's something that he didn't create, which is true. I never really thought about that, but I do remember reading about a lot of executive interference throughout it as well. So it's just always one of those things where you kind of start, like you said, peel back the layers about it all. Like, where does it all go awry at times? But it was like a massive, like what would you call it? Like not undertaking, but like you said, trying to fit so much into a singular movie. That's why like right now, like media, there's still like that value of the theater on the film and the 2.5 hours or whatever. But I love that like more things are like, this thing needs to be like a series. Like we need to give this its time, its due, and let it breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
So like once they called it to, at least for this, for your Avatar, it was nice to see them actually give it that extended time.
I think that's really the only way you can do something of this scale justice. Like you can't. I mean, I'm thinking of like certain like books like Dune, right? You look at Dune and you kind of go, "Whoa, that's a lot to sort of try to cram into one movie." So they're making 3 type thing to sort of make it. I mean, you look at David Lynch's version from the 80s, and it's like, unless you read the book, you're like, God, this is hard to follow. It's really hard to follow and stuff like that. It's just, you can't. And I think that's, back in those days, and they still kind of do it now. Everyone, they were looking for properties that they could sell, market, turn into a trilogy, crank it out, make a ton of money and just split type thing. Like if you look at the young adult or the youth market, like there's a whole, like the Aragorn movies failed. They didn't make it into like, 3 movies like they were planning on doing.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, because they're popular for a reason. And if you just try to make a quick buck and you truncate it so much, it's barely what it was. Of course, fans aren't going to flock to it. You might get people, first timers who've never seen it before. They'll enjoy it. And they go, oh, I didn't think it was that bad, because they don't know any better. Right? They don't know how rich or how deep the lore goes and how the characters really, you grow to invest in. If it's going to be this ersatz sort of like disposable one-off, then the casual fan or the non-fan will kind of go, I don't see what the big deal is. But if you've invested time in watching the 66 episodes over the course of, and seeing the journey that's gone on, you're going to be a little bit ticked off when you see something that feels like just slapped together and made for a quick buck. You feel disrespected. So it runs deep. Like, and I understand where the anger and the people were, I think, what's the word? What did they do? Offended by what they were seeing, because it's like, how dare you? How dare you?
I think that's I don't mean to keep beating the dead horse or anything, but I think that was like the first time I left a theater actually kind of with that feeling in mind. Like, because like I guess like the other thing that usually comes up in this sphere is like that, and then Dragon Ball Evolution,
right?
And for that, like, I think arguably, or at least in my opinion, Dragon Ball Evolution was much more of a incomplete product. But I kind of knew that going into it. So it was a lot less like, I was like, there's no way they're getting this right. So it was a little bit of like, like
lowered expectations.
Yeah, like it can only go up.
Yeah.
But like the trailers, man, they actually like the interviews, the trailers, everything for it was like also like it was like, oh, maybe this one. No, right. Sorry.
It's the hope that kills you.
But I think it's what's fun about your alls, because like we've talked about a little bit as well, and I wasn't shy about it in my reactions about some of the things that they tweaked, trying to do their own thing, but also kind of in the 8 episodes you still can't put everything in.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of setting up of things that are to come and whatnot. But a lot of the things that I really enjoyed, shockingly, was the things that were completely brand new to the show that was put into that, like the extension for the background for like Zuko stuff, and with you as well in there, like that relationship kind of being established in like these flashbacks, the additions to the lore with the ship, the crew, like that was one of those things I was like, wait, that wasn't in the show. That sounds like that should have been in there. Like there's a bunch of cool stuff like that, some mind-bogglingly interesting choices that I'm very curious to see for season 2 and 3, and how, because obviously there's some things from those seasons they introduced pretty earlier. So I'm excited to see how that changes the course of the show at all. Maybe not, maybe so, but I think I'm not going to pry. So
no. It is, and we've said this from the get-go. It is an adaptation. This is our. If you want to see Avatar in its full glory, go watch the animated show. It still exists. It's still there. It isn't going away. It's not being replaced or retconned or whatever. Like that's still lore. That's still canon. But this is a live action adaptation, and you hit the nail right on the head. You can't get every single moment in there. And if you tried to do like a shot for shot, it's like, well, what's the point? Like, why would you? It already exists. Like it's literally the meme of the guy going there, right there. So what we were trying to do is, it is because it's live action. The tone of the show was something that's, I think, different for a lot of fans, because I think some of the OGs were like really not quite on board with some of the choices, like you said, that were made. I mean, they're expecting one thing and the adaptation comes out, and it's hard because you're so influenced by your love of what you feel like this worked and that was great. And I really loved this kind of character arc and these stories. Like I love that. And I love how they pulled that off. The execution of that was great. And here we are as a wholly different production, trying to give you something that is familiar, but with a twist on it that stays true to the spirit of what you're seeing, the journey of the Avatar and what he has to go through, and the Aang gang and everybody else, but to give you a different experience than what you see in the animated series. And that's the whole point. The whole point is this is an adaptation. This is trying to, tell a massive epic tale in a shorter period of time. And in that sense, too, you're going to lose. They have to kill some babies, as they say in the writer's room. There's certain things that, fans love that can't make the cut, that don't make the cut because they're fun, but do they add to the story? And there are a lot of side quests and stuff like that are fun, and some of them are included and some aren't. Some are, out of order. And, it's just, that's the nature of an adaptation. Without giving too much away. But I mean, I think people know this. Fans know this, especially after seeing season 1. It's like you said, they brought in elements that weren't in the animated series in season 1, like, Zuko and Iroh's backstory. You don't find out a lot of that stuff in the animated series until season 2. right? And so to bring that in and to add those elements, I think those are the best case scenarios when you
Yeah.
see something that fans go, oh shit, I like this. This is new. It fits. It works in the world. It's new. That's what I like. That's when you kind of go, yes, we got it. We nailed that moment. We gave them something that they didn't get from the animated series. I love that. And I think that's when adaptations really, really work. And without deviating too much off the plan. Because we all know through the animated series what that relationship is between Zuko and Iroh. You don't find that out, again, like I said, till season 2. But season 1, Iroh's just this weird, funny, smelly, fat guy who's just along, and he kind of gets pushed around by Zuko and disrespected. And it's like, why the fuck does he love him so much? Like, what's the deal with this guy, right?
Yeah.
And you find that out later on, and it's like, oh, so we just brought that in a lot earlier, and that was a gift, I believe, because I think, a lot of fans were like, they weren't really sure with my version of Iroh. They're like, I don't know about this. It's sort of like the little side eye of, I'm trying to make up my mind. And it was hard because the goofiness of Iroh that you see in the animated series, we didn't have time for in the live action. And that's the thing. You don't have the luxury of 22 half-hour episodes to sort of play that out. And so, like, you got to make a choice. Like, which Iroh is it? And I think part of the problem is, too, because he's such an iconic character and he sounds very specific and he acts a certain way. I got fan cast as Iroh earlier on because I'm Asian, I'm bald, and I have a beard and I'm fat. Come on, right? And it's just like, and I get it. And one of the characters I played that I'm known for is Mr. Kim from Kim's Convenience, and he has an accent. So it's like, check, 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 check. And so people were expecting some version of that, right?
Right.
And I did not want to do that because in my mind, and it was great because I remember talking to Albert Kim, who's the showrunner, executive producer. It was just like, I don't want to do that version because there's an excellent version of that exists. That's Mako and Greg Baldwin carrying the torch after Mako passed away. And that's that legacy. And if I did that, like when I did the voice in Kim's Convenience, that's my dad's voice. That's a lived-in experience. That's a Korean accent. Mako was Japanese. That's a different accent. I don't want to put on a real fake accent because it's going to be shitty. It's going to be
inauthentic.
Yeah, and a caricature of and I don't want to play catch up to this guy because I can't fill those shoes. I can't be that guy. I could be my own guy, bring my own sense. And that's what you want as an actor. It's like, my job is not to mimic these guys. It's like watching the Kelvin timeline for Star Trek, the different versions of Kirk with Chris Pine playing Kirk, with Carl Urban playing McCoy, Zachary Quinto playing Spock. It's their versions of it. And there's certain things that, elements of the characters that they stay true to, but they're not trying to be these guys. They're not trying to recreate DeForest Kelley or William Shatner or Leonard Nimoy. They're not doing that. This is their adaptation, their version of it. And that's what I really wanted with Iroh. And it was just like, and the biggest thing was, I'm not going to do an accent because logistically it's sort of like, well, nobody else in the Fire Nation in the animated series has an accent. Why is it only Iroh? Because that was Mako's voice, right? And so it's like you start tugging at that thread. It's just like, so what's going on here? Like, how come only certain people have accents and other people don't? Like, what's the deal with that? And so we thought, okay, just make it clean. And I also didn't want to be the accent guy. Like, he's only good when he does accents with his acting. But what I really wanted to do was stay true to the heart of Iroh, the spirit of his love, the capacity for love that he has for Zuko, his loyalty, the way the war changed him, the immense sense of loss that he suffered. These are all things that I wanted to explore with Iroh. And if we could have fit in the goofier, like fun side of it, I would have been all for that. But, it's not Iroh's story. It's the Avatar's story.
It's
So
almost the show had, like you were talking about the tone of the show. I don't know that at least the way the shows decided to take its approach, if that would really kind of fit in a lot of ways. Like, you know, even with the Aang, like a lot of that still kind of, there's still some of that because he is still a kid, but
Yeah.
it's definitely like brought down a little bit. But like, you do a really good job of, like you said, embodying all the things that I think really, really matter. You know, accent aside and all that other stuff, you know, it's like I felt that warmth, and you and Dallas have like a really, really strong chemistry that just comes through on the screen. There's a couple things I talked about too, about I think your performance specifically. What was your like mindset with you getting into Iroh, or how he presents himself in that world? Because there were some times where I'm like, oh, is this him just kind of putting on a polite face for the people around him? I'm just kind of curious about how you get into character, or your strategy there.
It's, I mean, with a lot of things, it starts with the script, obviously, because that's the backbone of, that's where all the homework goes into in terms of finding out what makes this guy tick, where he goes, what his relationships are. And then, you know, as you get ready for it, it's honestly, season 1 was a massive hair and makeup process. It was 2 hours to get into character because they had to add extensions to my beard, and I had a wig with a top knot, and then the makeup application and whatnot, and then you put on the costume. And so by the end of all that, I was ready to rock and roll, basically. And you know, you're not working in a vacuum, which is great. You have other wonderful performers that you're working with, Dallas being one of them, and I think I give him a ton of credit for being there and being open and wanting to invest in that relationship with between Zuko and Iroh. That was something that we really, really wanted to make sure that we nailed, because that was important to a lot of people. And for us in that first season, that was a driving point for us. That's what kept us going forward. His obsession with trying to appease his father and pull off the impossible, and my sort of wanting to keep him safe and let him know that he is enough, and to protect him and to guide him and try to make him realize that perhaps what you think you want isn't what you really want, and you need to decide this. And so it was, when you're in it, it's great. It is really great. And then you work with other fantastic actors, like, you know, Ken Leung is an actor that I adore. I was a big fan of his the first time I ever saw him perform in something was a movie called Keeping the Faith, with Edward Norton and Ben Stiller. They were playing a rabbi and a priest, respectively, as friends growing up. And he had a great role, Ken, as a hungover karaoke machine salesman. And when you see Ken, he jumps on and he's full fucking accent with a okay, and he's singing Jesse's Girl in an accent, and it's like over the top, and it's just like, it's borderline offensive. And then he just sort of goes, okay, I'm just gonna live with you guys, I'm really, really hungover. And he just breaks that character, and you're like, this guy's fucking brilliant, I love him. And so I was a big fan of his, because that was just such a great turn, and his timing was impeccable, and his reactions were fantastic, because he doesn't know that he's trying to sell this to a priest and a rabbi. So that's the first time I saw him. And then he was in Lost, which was one of my favorite television shows. That's when I became a huge fan of DDK as well. And that's Daniel Day Kim, for those of you who don't know. And so,
the shorthand.
Yeah, everybody calls him DDK. And it's one of those things where when you are working with your heroes, it means a lot more. And watching them both bring it is inspiring. You know, working with Ken, and I worked with Ken more than Daniel. Daniel is he's so confident. He's very suave and his charisma is like, it washes over you. And he's very Hollywood in that way, in terms of the whole, perhaps you should try this or you should do that. And he's very, very very confident, and it's not condescending, it's not patronizing. It's just like, damn, this guy knows his shit. This is awesome. And Ken is kind of like, he's like that quirky theater school kid who's like crawling under the tables and trying different things. And you're like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm trying to see where Admiral Zhao comes. Like, he kind of slithers in, and he's got all these things, and it's amazing to see his process work too. And it's just like, oh damn, this is so cool. And it really does feel like East Coast versus West Coast acting styles type thing. And so like they're bringing it, and you're like, okay, and that helps to just sort of, make you realize that this isn't like a third-rate sort of like fantasy knockoff or whatever. This is like, they got some big guns up there, and so you want to be at your best to sort of show that you can play in the big leagues. And so yeah, with Iroh, it was the biggest push for me was I remember when I was auditioning for it, when I found out what it was like, oh, I really want this part, because I knew it was going to be challenging. And then when I got it, it was just like, oh my God, what have I done? What am I going to do? Because these are big shoes to fill. And it's suddenly like, but there was a part of me that really felt like maybe I'm one of the few actors who can really do justice to this character. And then it was something that's like, no, I need to prove it to myself, but I also want to show the fans and give them love and give them an iteration of Iroh that they can get behind and cheer for and see a different side of that they wouldn't get. Because there is a perfect version of him in an animated series already. And so my humble sort of attempt and offering to the fans is this version of him. And I'm excited to see what fans think of the journey in season 2 and 3, because, we if you've seen the series, there's a split that's happening, and they kind of go their separate ways. And the writers have really, it was a challenge, a lot of it, because I was no longer with my best bud. I wasn't with Dallas anymore. I was on my own, and that was hard. And it was hard for Dallas too. It was just like we talked about how much we missed each other, during the shoot. And it's just I have no idea how it's gonna cut together. They like I said, they just wrapped season 3. They're working on season 2, edits, VFX. Same thing with season 3, and I haven't seen a stitch of footage, so I have no idea what it's going to be like.
How's that feel on the other side of it when you've done your thing? Do you ever have like a tinge of like a little bit of anxiety about like, oh, how did everything turn out, or what's the final product going to look like? Because you in the edit, you're stitching takes, your shots, and all these other things together.
It's completely out of your hands, and it's something that it's just like, as soon as you realize, it's like you can worry about it, but there's nothing you can do. And there have been times where I felt like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is gonna be a great, like on other shows where I got this, this is gonna fucking rock. And then I see it and I go, oh my God, that was so shit. You don't know. You don't like feeling something and then seeing it are different. There are times where, and I've learned this over the years, is you might feel like that was the worst take ever. I don't feel like I was able to emote or do any of the stuff that I set out to do. But behind the camera, the director's like, that was amazing. Like, they see things in your performance that you might not feel. Or there are times you're like, oh, I hate this moment. I hate this moment. I hate this moment. And the director's like, can we try a little bit more of this? And it's like, didn't read. So there are times where you can over internalize and whatnot. So it's a weird thing where you go by feeling and you have to trust in the process, and you have to trust that the outside eye, the directors and the writers who are watching you perform, kind of go, that was great. Don't worry about it. You have to have faith in that. And you have to be able to marry how you feel for certain takes versus what's actually reading during those takes. And it can drive you nuts, though. It can really, really drive you nuts. And it's with bated breath. So I'm just like everybody else, waiting to see what season 2 is going to be like. I'm right there, too, because it's like, I'm in it and I have no idea how
Yeah.
it's going to cut together. So, you know,
All you gotta do is just pray.
yeah, yeah. It's just
Um,
leave it up to you're at the hands of the director and the editors.
So while a lot of it's there's so much trust involved on so many different levels,
Yeah.
just from the not even just the cast, the crew, and the director, but just like everybody, lighting, the editing bay. Like God, like the more I've been doing this, the more I've been diving into. Because I mean, I did like some film study and stuff in school and whatever for my art degree and whatnot. But like, just going down that rabbit hole, and then just like there's so much that you just can't even contemplate that goes into these things. It's such the miracle of filmmaking is exactly that in a lot of ways, man. I wanted to kind of circle back towards the the fan conversation we were kind of having there about like kind of going into something like Avatar for somebody else who I can't tell. Are you a fan of anything in particular?
I'm a fan of everything. I am so cheap. No, I mean, I'm a Gen X kid who grew up watching TV and film because that's how I killed time. Not killed time, but that's how I spent my time. So, I mean, I kind of love Star Wars, but I also love Star Trek, Space 1999. I have a love for RoboCop, Predator, Aliens. There's a like it's sort of like growing up. These were my friends, Transformers, right? G.I.
Exactly.
Joe. And so this is as I get older, a lot of it's nostalgia. You know, yeah. But I love what I love, and I think with fans, there's always this weird sort of like, well, people are embarrassed sometimes to admit that they love a bunch of stuff, but it's like that's cool. That's cool to love a bunch of stuff. It's good to love a bunch of stuff instead of just one thing, right?
Yeah.
I think that's great because you can meet so many people who have the same shared interests and fandoms as you. Like I love Ghostbusters. I cosplay as a Ghostbuster. I built a proton pack and a ghost trap and a PK. Like I've built all that stuff. Back to the Future. I love that franchise as well. It's just my love knows no bounds, right? RoboCop, all these different. Like I'm surrounded by all this shit that I love, right?
Same.
And that's kind of like the point. The Simpsons, right over there, right? Wallace and Gromit. I'm just Astro Boy, the Iron Giant. Yeah, it's you love what you love, and so. Yeah, it's physical media. I love collecting movies. Jaws is my favorite movie of all time. I'm just looking at all the shit on my walls and everywhere. It's what made me. It's what made me fall in love with storytelling, which made me, when I realized that I could be an actor in university, made me jump. And kind of go, why I want to, I can act. I'm allowed to do that. Yeah, because I didn't know if I was allowed to do it because growing up, my parents were always like, immigrant parents, right? You can be 5 things in your life: doctor, lawyer, teacher, engineer, or failure. You choose. And it's like, oh, okay. Like nowhere in that conversation was you can be an actor. And I think a lot of that was because there weren't many successful actors. And that's the thing. Your parents want you to succeed. Your parents don't want you to suffer or struggle. And, so that's why it's like you go to the safe professions, ones that are time honored and well paid and have good status and blah, 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 blah. It's just, but I think times are changing now where you're seeing a lot more success stories for BIPOC artists. And, it's not just DEI. It is, a different narrative and storytelling. And I think audiences are flocking to it because it's a different, again, it's a different narrative. They're different stories. And through these different stories, I believe audiences find universality in terms of shared experiences. This is a story from a different culture, but I can get behind that. I understand where it's coming from. I felt that same way too. And gosh, how lovely is it to see a different story and have something unique to what I've always grown up watching, right? I think audiences hunger for that. You could have the best steak meal of your life, but if you were to have that exact same meal for a month straight, you would get pretty sick of it. Quality would be exactly the same. You get, this is amazing. But after a while, you get like, I kind of want something different, you know?
I think a lot of people also get hung up on the idea that, or like the inability to understand that at the end of the day, we all want the same things, you know, eat, breathe, roof, love.
Yeah.
You know, like if you disconnect with the culture, if you disconnect with the language, there's certainly something else there. Like we're all living on the same rock and dealing with the same stuff. Like I know it's a struggle for some people. I don't get why it is, but I love that it's we're seeing a little bit of a curve. There's still obviously a lot of progress that still needs to be made, but like Crazy Rich Asians, K-pop Demon Hunters coming out and swinging hard. Huge. I mean, just K-pop in general is kind of this other beast that's out there, you know?
Right.
Like, especially growing up in the way that you did too. Like, what's your perspective on that kind of shift? Or have you noticed like it pick up?
Dude, it's tremendous. Because growing up, it was like, Korea? What? From North Korea? It's like, no, I'm not from North Korea. I'm from South Korea. Anybody, chances are, if you meet anybody Korean, 99% of the time, they'll be from the South because you don't escape from the North. That being said, there are some who did escape from the North. So, but that's a whole other ball of wax. But for me, growing up, it was just like, I didn't want to be Korean. I didn't. It was like, because you were the other. And nobody had heard of Korea. Or like they thought Korea was a third world country, was super poor, you know, was backwards. Everybody, you know, living in huts, squatting in ditches, sticking berries up their noses type thing. And so I love that not only is Korean culture sort of at the forefront, it's cool. It's like, you know, like you said, K-pop, the movies, the K-dramas. Everybody's watched like how that has exploded, which is hilarious because my earliest recollections of K-dramas were my parents having stacks of video cassette tapes that were bootlegged from Korea, brought to Canada. And like, so they would go and like, there would be a bunch of Korean stores that would have all these bootleg copies and they would rent them out. And you would have like a stack of like, they had a stack of like 40 or 50 cassette tapes and they would burn through them. And I was like, what are you guys doing? It's like Korean soap operas. Are you kidding me? And this was in the 80s, right? So
yeah, there's no popping online and like just streaming something on a VPN or anything.
Exactly. So it was kind of like, it's kind of embarrassing. The videotape quality was terrible. And it was just like, oh my God, guys, I'd rather you watch pornography, but whatever. Right. And then, so all that suddenly it's like super popular, but the food, which is great too. Like Korean barbecue, everybody loves Korean barbecue. They're like going out, kimbap, you know, kimchi jjigae, all these different, you know, kalbi, everybody wanting this and wanting bulgogi and going to these different places. It's just like, as somebody who grew up there and was always kind of a little bit embarrassed that I was Korean, it's just like, oh my God, this is this is our time, right? It's like everything's coming up Millhouse. It's awesome, right? And it's something to be proud of because, you know, South Korea is a major economic power now. They built up from the ashes, literally, because, you know, the Korean War was from 1950 to 1953, but before then they were under Japanese occupation. They're always beaten down. After the war, everything was destroyed. And in like 30 years, they built themselves into a technological sort of superpower now. And so like from automotive vehicles to appliances, to phones, computer systems, all this stuff, it's a great success story on so many different levels. So I'm very proud, and it's really cool to be a part of that, because I never would have thought as a kid this is something I could hang my hat on and kind of go to have. I mean, to have white people know more Korean than me is awesome. You know, it's like, how did you learn to speak? It's like, oh, I'm huge into K-pop. I know so many white kids or people who have learned Korean because of K-pop or K-dramas. And it's like, your Korean is impeccable. That's amazing. And I think that's really cool. I think it's a really, yeah, it's really cool. Is that people are invested in it and they love it so much they learn the language. So
I think that's a pretty hefty note there, because learning a language, let alone in this country, getting people to learn a second language is a like a massive undertaking. But yeah, it's just awesome, man. I just love, I personally, like you said, like getting, like, you can only get the same perspective, the same story so much, and just regurgitate it over and over again before you just, your favorite meal's just nice. It just doesn't taste the same anymore, man. You need another, and it's just a little more spice or just something, change it up.
Yeah. And there's still great stories.
Yeah,
right?
for
sure.
Still,
they're great. It's just when you have too much of one thing, is after a while it becomes stale, right? You're like, and it's still great. It's just like, but I've had it. And I think there's room everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's not like we'll get rid of it. And I think that's funny, because I think with some fans, and I think even outside of fandom, people are like, wow, they're just going to get rid of it. It's like, no one's getting rid of it. It's like, you know, when we talk about equal rights, it doesn't mean taking rights away from you. It means giving the same rights you have to other people too, like sharing that. Like, it's not, no one's taking it away from you. So don't worry. Like it's with Avatar. Everybody thought, oh my God, this better not suck. If it sucks like the M. Night Shyamalan movie, we're going to riot. It's like, no one is taking away the original animated series. It's still there. Same with Star Wars. Oh my God, this is going to suck, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no one is taking away the original Star Wars. It's still there. Don't worry. But you should be open to doing other things, experiencing different things, because that's how we grow.
Exactly.
And that's the biggest thing for me, is growth. You want to grow. And no one's saying your stories are shitty. No one's saying you can't tell your stories. No one's saying you don't have any more rights. No one's saying that. People are just saying, let's try something different. Let's share what we have. Let's extend the same rights that you've always enjoyed to somebody else. And it doesn't mean you don't have these rights anymore. It means somebody else is going to be able to enjoy the exact same privileges that you do.
Just bringing more people to the table.
That's it.
The number's not going down.
Yeah. So exactly. I think that's the thing. There's a lot of built-in fear over it, that somehow by sharing we're losing. And I've never felt that way. You shouldn't. When you're sharing something, you should never feel like you're losing anything. You're gaining so much when you share.
It's more people to talk about everything with too. It's just like so many more people to like nerd out with, you know. It's just like we all love and feel these things, man. It's just like, and that's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like walls, man. Well, I mean, I like keeping the rain out.
Yeah.
You know.
It's also like, you could learn something too.
Yeah.
Which is another, hear a different perspective. You go, oh my God, I never thought of it that way. And that can be mind blowing. You go, oh my God, this is great. And like, I miss those days when you nerd out with a bunch of people, and, you know, you can have debates over what you thought was better, this or that. And it was always civil. It was never this mudslinging that's going on online nowadays with flame wars and people just like downright hatred. And it's just like, guys, we're arguing about plastic spacemen.
Yeah.
Right? Like, relax, right? I love that, because if you love something, you want to share it. And it's a weird sort of like when people gatekeep something. It's like, well, I was an original fan. It's like, being a fan isn't a competition. Mm-hmm. You're not a better fan than somebody else. You might know more because you've invested more, but I would want to keep what I love relevant. I would want to share that. I would want to learn. I would want that, to expand on this. And I'd want a younger audience. I'd want to keep this thing alive, instead of somebody just going, yeah, that's an old person thing, and they're really gatekeepy, and they don't make me feel good about liking this. So I don't want part of it. It's like, congratulations, you just killed the thing. Like, I hope you love it when you take it to your grave
Yeah.
and it dies with you. You can't do that. You can't do that.
For somebody who grew up, as a fan of Star Wars, how'd that feel getting to go to a set?
I cried so many times when I went. I did. I couldn't help it. It's overwhelming as a fan to sort of this step when you're looking around and you are surrounded by everything Star Wars and everybody working on it. They're Star Wars fans, and it can be overwhelming and to the point where, like I almost gave myself a nosebleed. I was just sort of like, I have to be professional. There will be a time to nerd out, but right now I'm here for a job. So do your job, do your job, do your job, do your job. Act like you belong here, right? Pretend. And you can be inside going, but on the outside, you got to do your shit. Otherwise, they're not going to ask you back. And that's the other thing too. You want to be asked back. So you need to do a good job. You should always want to do you should always be doing a good job, but it's like that. It's heightened when you're absolutely enamored and in love, and it's been part of your life, like literally a part of your life for as long as you can remember. And so, yeah, and it still doesn't feel real, to be honest. It doesn't feel real. It's been 6 years since The Mandalorian first premiered on television, right? On streaming services. And for me, it's been 6 years since I started working on it, because I worked on season 2 before they aired season 1 of The Mandalorian. And so that's my timeline. It's like, oh my God. So it's been 6 years. And what a crazy experience, because I've met so many people that are like, whoa, you're creating Star Wars, like Jon Favreau, right? Like Dave Filoni, like Carrie Beck. Like all these people are like, oh my God, you guys are literally, you're making Star Wars. And I played a very small part in it, but then it's like, also you meet the giants like Carl Weathers, Anthony Daniels, right? Meeting him was like, oh my God, it doesn't get any nerdier than that. And Katie Sackhoff, who I adore. And she's like, she messages me. It's like, hey, you want to be on my podcast? We're gonna unbox your action figure, because I bought 3 of them. And it's just like, oh my God, Katie, you are the best.
You finally got one.
Yeah. So it's surreal, because these are all people that you're kind of like, they all feel so much bigger than life. Yeah. But they're all just people too. But it's like, but these are people that I know now. Oh my God. That's crazy. And so, yeah, I'm living the dream. And what I love as well is fans are very happy for me. And yeah, I'm also very, very willing to just, whenever anybody asks, so you must be sick of talking about this. I'm never, ever sick about talking about Star Wars or my experience on Star Wars and sharing that, because I think a lot of people live vicariously through me. And I get it. I get it, because I like to pride myself on being approachable, on being grounded, and like as normal as I can be, right? And I love it, because a lot of fans are like, one of us made it. And I think that's the highest compliment. One of us, because I am a fan.
That's what I was about to say. You beat me to it. Yeah, I mean, I can't even fathom that, like stepping into an X-Wing. Oh, dude, I was obsessed with that ship as a kid.
Yep. Me too. I mean, the cockpit I got to sit in was way more detailed than the one I built for myself when I was, 5, which was an orange crate with drawings of control panels and marker on it, and, but I'm there, like I'm on the volume. I'm sitting in this cockpit. There's buttons that flip and lights that flash and monitors that work. And there's a flight stick that moves. I'm in full costume with a helmet on. Canopy goes down. The volume fires up, and I'm in space. I'm in an X-wing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The fact that you got to do that too, with the volume being something in there. So like when you're doing that too, with the lighting, with the whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle around you, how is it a little too easy to get immersed in that?
Yeah, no, it's like immediate. I mean, I've worked on green screens and in fact, and blue screens, for other episodes. Like when we did Ahsoka, that was old school, where we just had a blue screen in the background and we had a jib going over with the camera and stuff and a flashing light, and whatnot. And I'm still like, I'm invested. I'm here. I see what's going on. There are explosions. I'm rocking it. But the volume is just, that's next level. Like that's the best ride you're ever going to have. There's that sequence when you first see when they're chasing the Razor Crest through the atmosphere of Mulder Kreese. I mean, they built like an entire sequence of going through the clouds and whatnot, and we did it like 5 or 6 times, and it was just like I was in heaven because you feel like you're actually flying, and it's cool because the first few times you're just sort of like reacting, and then after a while it's like going down a track. You start to memorize the curves and the turns, you know where it's going, so you can actually start to anticipate, and it really sells the action a lot more because you're shoving the stick hard over to the left, and the X-wing is banking that way, and it's really, really cool. And it's such a shame they didn't use any of that footage, but I don't care because
you got to do it.
I got to do it, and it was like better than any friggin' ride I've ever been on, any roller coaster, it doesn't matter. Nothing holds a candle to that because nothing you say can convince me otherwise that I was actually flying an X-wing. And that is the best flight simulator I've ever been on. And that was heaven. And it was every time we stopped, I'd like yell out again, because when else am I ever going to get another chance to do that?
Put the quarter back in.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, you could clean up, like Disney could clean up if they just did that. Like a flight simulator, a pod of flight simulators, and you had, because I know they have Smuggler's Run where everybody's working together in the Falcon, but if you did it where it was like you had a group of like 5 pods where you could put, people in and give them the helmets and like give them jumpsuits and whatnot and do that immersive, you could do like a Star Tours kind of ride in there. You would clean up. There would be lineups for days out of that because that's a rush. That is a huge rush. And it's like you're living out your childhood fantasy.
Kind of converging the two things we've kind of fixated on a lot. Dave Filoni worked on Avatar, and then obviously has become like so entrenched in Star Wars. Do you see any similarities between the two?
I think with Dave, his experience is, and the way I look at it is this, because he started off in animation, obviously, and he made the jump to live action. But the storytelling, all the things that you learn in animation in terms of like building the story, creating the characters, and then bringing them to life, those are transferable skills, the majority of them. There's certain things that are easier to do in animation than in live action, but there are certain things that are easier to do in live action than animation. What is always difficult is when you're bringing something to life that has been initial, like its genesis is in animation, and then you've got to bring it to live action. And with Avatar, obviously it's like when you have a fully rendered 3D live version of a 2-dimensional character, there are always a bunch of challenges that you have to certain criteria that you have to meet. Do they look similar? Do they act similar? Do they sound similar? And the rest is in the storytelling. And with Dave, from Avatar, like with Dave, it's like, you look at Ahsoka Tano, that series where he's bringing to life all these animated characters from the Clone Wars and from Rebels, and that's really, really cool. And it's that sort of journey. It's that parallel journey where you see uh, this process where he's telling stories, he's bringing to life beloved characters, and there are challenges that go with that. And you also have two very, very heavily invested fan bases who will scrutinize and nitpick everything because they love it so much, right? And that's the thing. And so at the end of the day, I think with Dave, he is a fantastic storyteller. Full stop. I love his stories. I love hearing him tell stories. He's very grounded. He's very intelligent. He knows the lore. He cares about fans, but at the same time, he doesn't feel too beholden or too worried that he can't go off in his own direction and break new ground, right? There's always that challenge when you are adapting or bringing to life these things to a fan base that is, and I'm talking about Avatar and Star Wars, a fan base that has become very comfortable in how things are, and wanting to tell new stories is sometimes you've got to break new ground. And you'll have varying reactions to it. Who are you telling the story for? Right? And what are you trying to say with the stories? And I think there is a danger in just trying to just give the fans just what they want, because sometimes fans don't know what they want, right? Until they see it. I remember, for Andor, people complaining before it even came out. Oh, Cassian, we're going to learn about a character nobody asked for, nobody cared about. And now it's like, okay, dumbasses, like, what are you saying now about the show? Because now all of a sudden it's like, yeah, all of the Star Wars is garbage because Andor is so good. And I do, like, I remember
like the opposite side of the spectrum now.
Yeah. And it's very funny how people will, how short-term memories are, because if the storytelling is great, people don't give a fuck. Like, tell the story. And I think with Avatar too, it's the same thing. Tell the story. Tell a story. It's going to be different, but the same. Like this, it's going to be familiar, but this is going to be a different sort of telling of the same story, right? Which I think is really, really interesting. And so I know I've done these huge loops and circles around the actual question itself, but I think it served Dave very, very well. And I think he's really sort of, and this is in the past, he's coming to his own as a storyteller. And he's maintained, at least in my opinion, not that I know him the greatest, but he's always very grounded, and he's always, again, super approachable. And I love him because he seems unflappable, and he's very realistic about what his expectations are and what's going on. And he knows how to filter out sometimes some of the noise in the background, because you can lose your mind if all you do is listen to the noise. If you're trying to please everybody, you're going to please nobody. And I think that's key.
As an actor, do you ever get lost in the noise sometimes?
It's easy. And when I was younger, especially, it's like, don't read the comments type thing. Don't read reviews. Why are you doing this? And you learn because, you start reading them because you get a couple of good reviews and you're like, yeah, that's awesome. And then you get that one bad review and you're like, oh shit. And then you start to question everything. Reviews, like comments, you got to take everything with a grain of salt. I still read comments. I still read reviews because I kind of like to know what the overall sort of sentiment is out there in terms of what kind of work I'm presenting. And you're human too. At the same time, like I'm human. And I remember reading a couple of really hurtful comments about my work as Carson Teva on Mandalorian when it first came out. And it had nothing to do with my acting. It had to do with my appearance, my weight. Right. And it's just like, wow, like people like that's your takeaway. It's like that kind of vitriol. And so I've become very cognizant of the fact that when I'm watching something, that there are actual human beings behind it who have feelings, who are doing something that is very, not privileged, but it's like they're doing something that we can't do or that we haven't had a chance to do. And so absolutely. They're being scrutinized. They're being this and that. But at the end of the day, they're humans, and they're not trying to fuck up your character or to fuck up your life or to make you feel shitty or to make you mad or this or that. Anybody who's ever created something or performed something in front of an audience knows this. They just want to do their best, right? And so I've become way more cognizant of so when I criticize, and it's still okay to be critical as long as it's not hurtful, as long as it's constructive. It's not just complaining or nitpicking or pointing out faults without balancing it or offering suggestions or whatever. And again, prefacing all of that with, this is my opinion on this, right? Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where you kind of go, well, what are my qualifications to critique this then? Like, what training have I undergone to do that? And I see a lot of armchair critics, for lack of a better term, who've never created something, who've never taken film study, who don't know. Their biggest argument is basically, I don't like it because I wouldn't have done it this way. And then that's it, right? Like, that's not qualified. This isn't. Then go ahead, you make something. And then you see what it's like when somebody dunks on you and makes fun of you for whatever, or calls you names or makes you feel awful, right? And that's where I think we've gone way too far. Sometimes we've lost that ability.
There's no like in the middle.
Yeah. And you can be critical. I'm not saying you have to love everything, but you have to understand that there are people out there who are actually doing their best to do that. And if you can't say nothing nice, you don't have to say. I don't understand how people feel better about themselves by belittling other people. I think that's the saddest thing in the world. When to make yourself feel better about who you are, you got to punch somebody else in the mouth. I think it's sad. It's really, really sad. And it's like, well, why would you? Negativity seems to sell now. Negative clicks. Yeah. All this stuff. I'm so sick of that. Like, top 10 reasons why this show sucks. It's like, I don't fucking want to hear that. Fuck off. I'd rather hear top 10 reasons why I love this show.
Yep, same.
Yeah. Right?
I'm just so tired of it. Like, even when I don't like something, I try to find something in it that they did well, at least something to talk about. Yeah. Because I can't, I don't know, I just can't deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
And like, I'll get, not to make it about me at the moment, but like, like, oh, you seem to like everything. I was like, I mean, you're probably you're probably going to hear the most about the things I did like, but like a lot of the times too, even if it's just mildly understanding, is too much for some people.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't understand what's happened in a lot of ways. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me sometimes, dude.
And that's why I love, like, when we connected at the GalaxyCon, I got to meet you because I noticed that because I watch your content, like I watch your reaction video to Avatar, and this is what I enjoyed about it because you were very, you knew what you were talking about, which is great. And the things you didn't agree with, you said it. You were able to do it without being a dick, basically. Like, you weren't being an asshole about it. You're like, this is my cup of tea. I disagree with. You didn't like certain things, and that's fine. You're allowed to do that. But what you shouldn't do is, like, when people make fun of other people, or like they think they're so much funnier, or they by making fun of something because there's this and that and blah blah blah. Again, it's like you can tell somebody's never created something by the way they respond, like by the way they treat other people's work. And I find it refreshing when people can be constructive in their criticism and yet still find stuff that they loved in it too. And Avatar is not a perfect show. Like, I get it. But, why jump on the hate wagon and just point out flaws? It's easy to point out flaws. It's like the lowest common denominator. I could go through anything and pick out flaws. Anybody can nitpick. That's boring, right? Talk about what worked. Talk about what you think you hope improves. Talk about these things. You can have a bigger conversation. Yeah.
Like, what advice would you give? Like, what could improve? Like, make it a positive push forward.
And again, it's all couched with, this is my opinion.
Yeah.
This is what I think. That's it. And I think that's fair.
You get a lot of opinions stated as facts these days too, which grinds my gears to no end.
It is. Yeah, it's crazy. it's just this whole, it's like, well, it should have been this, and this. It's like, okay, what are your qualifications again? Like, how did, it's like, oh my God, it's so easy. I could have done it. It's like, then why haven't you? I always love that when people shit
Yeah.
on something and go, I could have done better. It's like, but you're not. You haven't.
I've made a short film. Shit
Yeah.
ain't easy.
No, it's not. It's not, right?
And it wasn't good.
Well, and that's the thing. For me, it's like, that's great. Like, you should. I mean, Kevin, I think it's hard if the first thing you make is amazing out of the gate, because you're like, fuck, you haven't learned anything then.
Yeah.
And then you have set of expectations for the next thing, like almost unrealistic expectations. I think you should. Everybody should just make shit and fail, and have it be absolutely shitty, because that's how you learn.
Mhm.
And that's how you keep going. And I think failure shouldn't be a bad word. Failure is the best way to learn. And that's how you grow, by failing and learning from the mistakes and improving and going and going and so on. That's growth. Everybody's in love with the idea of, this is a brand new show with brand new characters. It's got to catch my attention within the first 5 minutes. Otherwise, it's fucking garbage. Go. Holy fuck. How can anything survive? But we become spoiled because there are a lot of shows that can do that. But it's a lot of efforts, a lot of resources. And there's certain shows, it's a slow burn, man.
Yeah.
You got to invest in it.
Patience is lacking. Because like I think back to like Breaking Bad and what that turned into, but that first season, I feel like a lot of people forget how long it took for that to really start to pick up momentum.
Right.
So you got to earn, like, there's almost like a entitled buy-in now that you need like so much sooner.
Yeah.
But then studios are also kind of feeding into it too these days too, which is the pain point, because you can't go back to like, you know, how it used to be.
Yeah.
It's just like, because like shows used to be able to find their footing, you know. Some shows didn't figure out what the kind of show they even wanted to be until their second season or third or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Star Trek Next Generation. That first season was hard to watch. If you go back and watch it, you're like, ooh, and they're just trying to find the tone of the show. They're trying to find the characters and whatnot. And it stabilizes in season 2, but it really, really starts to take form in season 3. Right. And that's got to be part of the journey, I think. But everybody wants a hit right away. Didn't pull in the numbers we want. Cancel. It's like, oh, how many shows have we
with
lost
a lot of potential?
Yeah. Right. And I'm thinking about like Firefly, only got 1 season.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if they'd been given more room to sort of grow? You know, stuff like that. So I'll get off my soapbox too and stop shaking my hand at the clouds, my fist.
What's I mean, you got into Star Wars, you know, you're in Avatar now. What's, with Star Wars kind of crossed off that list, what's your next, like, man, I wish I could be in that?
Well, I mean, I'm a big Ghostbusters fan, so I'd love to do a Ghostbusters movie. I'm a big Star Trek fan. I'd love to do Star Trek. You know, I'm just trying to think. I'd love to do like a baseball movie, a sports movie. I'd love to be in a romantic comedy. I'd love to do Western. I think that'd be a lot of fun too, right?
I'm not getting a lot of those these days.
No. But yeah, and I'd love to, you know, like, I grew up, my mom loved the war movies, right? And so like, I'd love to be in a war movie, stuff like that. Like, war itself is like frightening as all fuck. But pretend stuff is fun. Like, guns scare me in real life, but I think they look cool on the screen, right? And so it's just like, yeah, okay. Yeah, like stuff like that would be so much fun to just do. And I've said this before in other interviews. It's like, I'd love to be able to play in different sandboxes I was never allowed to play in before. You know, early on in my career, there was only one kind of role for me, and that was it. And so now I have this opportunity, hopefully, to sort of expand upon that and to do all the things, or be allowed to be in the different kinds of shows that I wasn't allowed to be in before. And yeah. So, not to be greedy or anything, but
No, I want to be this, and that.
yeah.
I don't know, man. There's hey, we're not getting rid of Star Trek anytime soon. Doesn't seem like so. There's always going to be that chance.
Yeah. Well, and they're shooting in Toronto as well, right? So that's pretty cool. Although I think Discovery is done, and I think Strange New Worlds is wrapping. I think they're done.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the series end. But there's a new Starfleet Academy series that's shooting here. And that's more in the Discovery world, like Star Trek Discovery in that timeline, because it's in the future, like way in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's also geared towards a younger, it's kind of like a CW version. They want to bring younger audiences back into the mix. So I might have.
That's how you keep it alive.
Yeah.
Hey, you could be a teacher, instructor, or something like that.
I think they already got all the teachers.
No. No, don't think like that. There's always a chance.
Yeah.
That's kind of all I got at the moment.
All right.
But I really appreciate you carving out this time just to chit chat, rant and rave, and do what we do best, man.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And again, I'm so happy that we finally were able to find a time to do this.
Me too.
Yeah. Was it in Carolina, in Raleigh, that we met?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. And you live close to that area then?
I'm in West Virginia.
West Virginia. Okay.
So it's about 5 hours away.
Okay. Because
that's in my circle.
Yeah, because there was one I did a GalaxyCon in Virginia. There was one in Raleigh.
There's one in Richmond.
That's it.
In Virginia.
Yes. Okay.
I'll forgive you because you're Canadian.
Yeah. My bad.
There's
a difference. I know there's a difference. I just didn't know where Richmond was in.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's still like 4.5 from me.
Okay.
Still a little bit of a drive, but I've been going to a lot of the ones in the tri-state. So like, I'm going to the GalaxyCon in Columbus in a couple days.
Nice.
Well, 2 weeks.
That's the one I missed out on because I had work, and so I had to pull out of that one. But GalaxyCon, I love the folks at GalaxyCon. It's a great, well run. Volunteers are always excellent. The guests that they have, they treat really, really well. And I'm hoping again in the new year to get back on the concert. I kind of put a pause on all my US stuff just because it's a bit of a dumpster fire going
Only
on.
a little bit. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, don't make me look back there.
I don't really fit in, so I'm really worried. I just don't want to get disappeared by ICE and end up in Venezuela or something like that.
But I was in a Star War.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever, you're part of that M18 gang or whatever. It's like, but I don't even know what that is. So
yeah, we'll definitely catch you on if you manage to make it to another one. We'll most certainly be at your table.
That would be great. And we should get together and have a drink or share a meal together, because it would be fun to just sort of like hang out.
I would love that. Or we could even get together and do one of your own little unboxings one of these days too.
Yeah, if I ever get a chance to do my show again. Oh my God.
Most people might not know this guy does YouTube as well.
Yeah. My kid does, he plays baseball. And so he's on an elite team, and they switched. So my show's usually Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. And that's when his catcher practice is. And he trains like an hour away from us, like in another, like, so I drive him to catcher practice, him and his buddy. And so it's like, okay, so when am I going to find time because that's when my show is.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm going to try to figure it out sometime. And then if I do, I'd love to have you on. And
I would love to do that.
All right.
Hell yeah, man. Or what are your little like drinking circles?
Yeah. That's the other thing. We have a drinking game, and I can't get fucking sloshed Sunday afternoon. Before it's like, oh shit. So
Being a
we'll find
dad,
time.
man,
We'll find a time.
it dampens the fun sometimes.
Yeah,
But it's all in good fun. Damn it. No. Thanks for hanging out. And make sure you guys subscribe to Bitter Asian Dude. And we got 2 lovely little seasons that'll be coming around the corner for Avatar.
Yeah, we'll see sometime.
Murdoch Mysteries.
Thank you. On Ovation and Acorn in the States. I don't know.
Well, thank you for hanging out. I don't know
Thanks
where
for
that.
having me.
I don't know how we access that here, but you will figure it out, you heathens of the internet.
Just get a VPN and go to CBC Gem. I didn't tell you to do that though.
Nope, he said it. I didn't.